All right, how's everybody doing this afternoon? My name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace. You guys can put your 2 fingers up for peace like this. Thank you. We're going to start with some hip-hop music, if that's cool with you guys. Does that sound good? All right. 2 fingers up for peace. We're going to rock it. Here we go. Mic check. Whitmore Lake Elementary, I got something to tell you. That's why I'm here today, to rap this tune. So listen to me and hear what I have to say. Hey, it's Mr. Peace, yeah, and you are my family. Let's break it down and start sharing about our feelings, about a new way that'll help promote healing. But be honest, pinky promise, if you really want peace, and if you do, then show your hands, please. I mean, for real, we need to take responsibility by including others when you have the opportunity, at lunch or recess, even in the hallways. Any chance to be a friend throughout the whole school day. Because with peace, I need all your support. I need everyone to step it up. Grades K to 4 and 5. Be good role models while demonstrating non-violence. Put an end to all of the hate that you see, yo. You gotta have each other's back through the lowest to lows and the darkest shade of black. Everything in between, everything to look back. Peace brings love, that's exactly what we lack. Like this, just let them say that you're peaceful, full. And if you got peace, I got peace too. I'm saying whoa, just let them say that you're peaceful, full. And in the words of Gandhi, peace be with you. Now listen, when I say peace, you all say in peace. Peace. And when I say peace, you all say out. Peace. Peace. And when I say be, you all say kind. Be. And when I say show, you all say love. Show. All right, now we're warmed up. Give yourself a round of applause. Good job. Nice. All right, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, peace. So listen, my name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace, and that's how I get up every morning. A different beat on my alarm clock, and I wake up and just start rapping. No, I'm joking. But it's awesome to be here with you guys to share my heart. I got to talk to the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders earlier today, and now I get to talk with kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade today. But the talk today has to do with these 2 people, Mahatma Gandhi and someone whose birthday we just celebrated recently, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? And so look, Gandhi, he said, he didn't just say, be the change you wish to see in the world. He said, the actual quote is, you must be the change you want to see in this world. And so that change might be more kindness in your classroom, at the school, in your neighborhood, your home, wherever you are. If you want more kindness, he's not just saying, well, be more kind if you feel like it. He's saying we have to be more kind. We have to show more respect and love. And look, Dr. King, he also said, the time is always right to do what is right. And the right thing to do is to appreciate everybody around us. No matter who they are, no matter how they look, that we still see them for the inside, for their heart, before anything else. But before we get into the talk today, I gotta ask you guys a question. How many of you would like a $20 bill? $20 right here, 20 bucks. I'm only going to call on you if you're sitting on your bottom. Quiet, crisscross applesauce. I like applesauce, the cinnamon kind. Okay, one second. How many of you still want that $20 bill? You still want $20 bill? Okay. 1 second. Anybody still want the $20? You still want a $20 bill? Alright, one second. Can you hold this for a second? One second, hold it. Let's go back over, let's see, let's go back this way 1 second, excuse me, right here, excuse me, coming through, right back here, 1 second. All right, guys, give her a round of applause, she wanted it, all right, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, peace. So listen, Whitmore Lake, here's why I do this example, right? This $20 bill, it didn't matter if I crumpled it up, if I sneezed on it, if I slam dunk, jumped on it, it's still worth how much? $20, right? And look, I can take this $20 bill to any bank, even though it's dirty and crinkled and wrinkled and stepped on, I can take it to any bank. They'll give me a fresh, crisp, clean, brand new $20 bill, no questions asked. I've done it before. And so when it comes to things like money in the schools that I visit, so many students just like you, no matter what kind of shape it's in or condition it's in, so many of you are like, Mr. Peace, please, Mr. Peace, please. But when it comes to people around us, and maybe they look different, or they're a different shape or size, or they have a different skin color or background, or speak a different language, sometimes when it comes to that, and somebody's different than us, we don't treat them like they're worth the full $20. We don't treat them like they're worth our best friend. And if we don't treat everybody like we treat our best friend, we can cause people a lot of pain inside their hearts. And it only takes a couple seconds. So everybody say, hold on a second, there's a $20 bill just so you guys can see it one more time. But everybody say bullying. This talk today has to do with bullying and looking at somebody's heart first, but more importantly, it has to do with this, like my t-shirt says, one race, human. One race, human. Which means that we see everybody around us as human beings before anything else, right? And so, here's what I want you guys to do. Everybody go like this and make a fist, just like this. This is a school in Massachusetts by the Atlantic Ocean, which I see on your wall over here. They're close to that ocean. But this was an elementary school I spoke at. So everybody make a fist, now everybody go like this. No, don't do that. But listen, this right here, your fist is as big as your heart, right? But watch, if we let love, peace, kindness, compassion, and appreciation for all human beings enter into here fully, we turn this into this. And the reason that it's two, peace sign, right? The reason that it's two is because one finger is yourself, and the other one is someone you're trying to lift up higher than yourself. If you choose that, by how you choose to treat them, right? But look at it, it's also two, 1, 2, because in just 2 seconds, one word, one action, one heartbeat. What we say or do, if it's positive, it can stay on someone's heart in a good way for the rest of their life. Or in 2 seconds, if we say something mean or do something mean, it can stay on someone's heart in a negative way for the rest of their life. But I want to prove this to you guys, but I need some volunteers. So I'm going to call on you for sitting respectful on your bottom. Okay. I'll take you right here. Yep, come on up. And we'll take you. Go ahead and just come up. We'll take you right here. Yep, come on up to the front. And we'll take you right there. Yep, come on up to the front. And let's see. Go to the front. Yep. How many more? I need two more. Two more. We'll take you right here, and we'll take you back there. All right, give these guys a round of applause. Okay. So look, you guys come up to the front. So I'm going to start beatboxing, and then you guys are going to freestyle, okay? Here we go. No, I'm just joking. I wouldn't do that to you guys. But listen, we're going to tell a story, and for this story, I'm going to have you be my catcher. Can you stand right here? Yep, you stand right here. Perfect. You be my pitcher. Come over here. Yeah. Come over here. You're okay. Come right here. And you stand right here. You hold this. Okay. Back up a little bit. Okay, thank you. You're going to be my first base. Can you go by principal? Okay, thank you. You'll be my second base. Go by Miss... sorry, right there. Okay. And then you're going to go... You're my shortstop. You go by Mr... Okay, perfect right there. And then you'll be my third base. You go by... This. Okay. Thank you. So, what sport do you think this story is about? Baseball. You guys got it. Nice. So listen, this story is about a boy named Shay. Everybody say Shay. And this is a true story. And Shay was in elementary school. And here's how the story goes. Shay had to stay after school about 30 minutes to finish a project. And he finished his project after half an hour, and then his dad came to pick him up from school to walk home. And they lived right down the street from the school, so they could walk home. And so as soon as they stepped outside, Shay saw that his classmates were playing baseball on the field outside the school. So he tugged on his dad's shirt, and he says, Dad, do you think if I ask them to play that they'll say yes? And his dad said, sure, go ahead. But in his dad's mind, he thinks that they're going to say no. Because you see, Shay was born differently than a lot of us. Shay was born with one leg shorter than the other, so when he walked, he kind of had a limp like this, and he wasn't that fast, he wasn't that good at sports, and he also learned a lot slower than some of his classmates. And he was always getting teased for those two reasons. And even though his dad thought they were probably going to say no, he said, sure, go ahead and ask him anyways. So Shay interrupts their game. He interrupts their game. And the game is tied. There's 2 outs. The game is tied. It's the 9th inning, the last inning of the game. And he interrupts their game. He's like, guys, can I play? And one boy looks at Shay and says, not today, Shay. Maybe next time. And this other boy says, hey, Shay, you're just not that good. And this other boy says, hey, Shay, why don't you just get lost? So Shay's head's down like this, and he's ready to leave. When all of a sudden, this one boy steps forward and says, Shay can have my spot. Shay can be on my team. And the person who it is the person up to bat next. And look, Shay's barely ever even held a bat before. He's played baseball maybe once in his life. And he's going against Michael Fulmer. I'm joking, but a good pitcher, okay? And so he's going up there. You got to stay still right here. Back up, thank you, okay? Back up a little bit. And so here comes pitch number 1. Just nice and easy. Can you toss it? Swing, hold that. And a miss, strike 1. Okay? Here comes pitch number 2, nice and easy. Go ahead. You can toss it. Swing, and a miss, strike 2. 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Buy me some peanuts. Okay, sorry. Here comes pitch number 3, nice and easy. Swing, and Shay connects barely. It rolls right back to the pitcher. It's going to be an easy out. But even though it's going to be an easy out, they say, Shay, try running to first base anyways. So Shay starts running to first base, and the pitcher starts to walk after Shay. With the ball, she starts walking after Shay, and then Shay started to dodge some first or second graders. I'm not sure what grade they're in. It was a weird stuff in the baseball field that day. And right at the last second, she's about to tag Shay, but then she throws it over the first base's head towards some lunch cafeteria tables. And so then the first base gets the ball, and they say, Shay, go to second. Go to second. So Shay's going to second base, and then first base throws it, but it goes off a teacher's arm. So the second base goes against the ball. He goes to get the ball, it still rolls towards the wall. So they say, Shay, go to third. Go to third. And so after a couple seconds, they finally get the ball, okay? And he starts chasing Shay, and he gives it to the shortstop. But then he bobbles like a hot potato like this. So then they say, Shay, go to third. Go to third. So Shay's going to third. And then the shortstop tosses it to the third base. But it goes right off a student and it goes towards the wall. So the third base goes, gets the ball. And they say, Shay, go home. Go home. So Shay's going home and she's coming to chase Shay and just about to tag him. But then he hits the base just in time. His team wins, they pick him up on their shoulders, they all say, Shay, 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 Shay. And they're so happy that his team won. Give these guys a round of applause, good job. Good job. Thank you. All right. Love the energy, thank you guys. All right, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The last stuff. So listen, Whitmore Lake. Here's why I tell this story. How many seconds did it take that boy to say that Shay could be on my team? How many seconds? 2. 2 seconds, right? And listen, this changed Shay's life forever. Because this pitcher could have literally walked and tagged Shay out. That's how slow he was. And the first base, second base, shortstop, third base, they could have all walked and tagged Shay out, but they didn't on purpose. They threw it past each other, they bobbled it, it went between their legs, because what they realized is who won or lost the game, it wasn't as important anymore as including this human being, making him feel welcome into this world. And guess what? The person who said, Shay can have my spot, that took a lot of courage, because they could have told him to get lost too. Because he was including somebody that everybody called weird and thought he was different. So they could have bullied him and told him to get lost too. But they didn't, because hearts started to change from this act of kindness. And his one action that took 2 seconds changed everybody's heart on the baseball field. And even sweeter, for the rest of that school year and beyond, everybody started to accept Shay because of one action. All of you guys have that same power if you choose it. I'm going to show you guys a video. And this is about a boy named Matt. Everybody say Matt. Now Matt is from a school in Ohio. And Matt was born with cerebral palsy. So when Matt runs or walks, a lot of times his muscles in his legs, especially, they spasm. And it's hard for him to walk or run. And he also gets out of breath really fast. Well, guess what? They had school track day at their school. And it was warm outside. And the gym teacher came up to Matt and said, Matt, you don't have to run if you don't want to, because he knows that he gets out of breath fast. But Matt said, no, I'm going to try. So watch what happens when he starts to run, what his gym teacher does, and the rest of his classmates. Then we're going to talk about it.
The race at one elementary school that really moved us. A little boy so determined to stay in the race, even when it looked like he couldn't make it any further.
Tigers, I've got this thing go. You ready?
It was race day at Colonial Hills Elementary School near Columbus, Ohio.
Go!
They were off, and right there at the back of the pack, 11-year-old Matt Woodruff, determined to run with the rest of the class.
Go, Matty!
But it wasn't long before Matt was trailing a bit. He had cerebral palsy and was told he didn't have to run that race, that he could sit it out. But Matt wanted it. Making his way around that track, his proud mom videotaping the whole thing. Suddenly, Matt starts to slow down, starts to struggle. And watch the left corner of your screen. Right there, that's gym teacher John Blaine, walking for Matt on the field. Soon, some gentle coaching by his side. That gym teacher would stay right there the rest of the race, and then something else. Suddenly, his classmates begin to notice, and one by one, they start making their way toward Matt too. The crowd swelling beside him, and so does their chant. Matt rounding down the final bend, his entire class in tow, every step of the way. Then his rally, teachers watching at the end, the cheers at the finish line. He did it. Afterwards, his mother could hardly find him in the midst of all of his fans. A high five there, and a hug. That race now going viral on the internet, and Matt told me just today on the phone that what that moment was like. That entire class was behind him.
It was tiring, but it really helped when my classmates, my principal, and everybody joined me. It was really encouraging.
Mom, who was there taking it all, and Dad, who saw it later, both so proud of him.
I couldn't have been more proud of my son. That was very heartwarming.
Dad proud, and so are we. And in fact, Matt told me if he had to race all again tomorrow, he would do it for sure. 880,000 hits now on that video on the internet.
All right, give it up for Matt. So look, this is so cool, right? Because he started getting tired, and then his classmates started to come and swarm him and really encourage him. But what's so sweet about this is that people from all walks of life came to support him. Some were younger, some were older, some were boys, some were girls, some were different skin color. It didn't matter. They all came to cheer him up and to cheer him on. Is it safe to say that what happened to him that day is going to be on his heart for the rest of his life? Yeah, in a very positive way, right? And we all have that choice to do the same thing, to show human kindness. Everybody say that. Need human kindness. Need human kindness, right? That we are kind to other people no matter what. And listen, I had a kindergartner come up to me a few months ago, and she said, "Hey, Mr. Peace, you won't believe it. I'm getting bullied." I said, "When did it start?" She said, 10 minutes ago. And I said, "Well, you know what? It's probably not bullying because it has to be over and over again. But guess what? A lot of states all around this country, there's new laws at some of the schools, like in Texas where I went to visit. And guess what? One-time actions, just one word, or if you do something that intimidates another classmate or makes them feel unsafe, that can be considered bullying. So we have to be so conscious of our actions, right? Whether it's something we say or something we do physically, or just how we look at somebody, or whether or not we include them, all those things could be bullying and could stay on someone's heart forever. But why does it happen? Why does bullying happen? What do you think? Yeah. How come?
Probably because they lost.
Maybe they had someone that they lost in their family. That's a good reason. Yeah.
Or because they're sad of something that happened.
Maybe something happened to them and they're sad and they're just pushing that pain on someone else. Why else does bullying happen? So someone was mean to them and they're just trying to reflect that. Why else does bullying happen? Yeah. What do you think? Something in their life and at home, right? One more. What else? Maybe they're just anxious. Maybe they're afraid of somebody and that person looks different, so they don't really get to know them and they just put them down. Maybe they're jealous. Somebody's better at them in something, right? Jealous? Okay. But listen, the biggest reason, hands down, the biggest reason why I've seen people bully, and I've talked in 20 states, over 1,000 schools in the last 10 years, is that hurt people hurt people. Everybody say that. Hurt people hurt people. And what I mean by that, and kind of what you guys just mentioned, is that if somebody hurts my feelings and it hurts my heart, the easy thing to do as a human being is to go and push that pain and hurt on someone else by how we treat them poorly. But that's not the right thing to do. The hard thing to do is to forgive. But look, when we're first born, goo goo gaga, right? When we're first born, our hearts are kind of like this empty cup. Pretty much empty. People haven't called us names or hurt our feelings or hurt our spirit. They haven't said that you're not good enough. You're not tall enough. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not enough. But little by little, our hearts, like this cup, it starts to get full of pain. And it's a dark color to show the pain and to represent that, right? And what will happen if I keep filling this up? Overflow, right? I had a first grader say, it's going to explode. I said, no, it's not. But here's the idea. If this keeps overflowing, it could either overflow onto ourselves, where we actually bully and hurt ourselves by how we talk to ourselves. If we believe a lie that somebody told us about our worth and our value. But even worse beyond that is this could overflow into someone else by how we treat them, right? So look, no matter how full this gets though of pain or loss or hurt, there's always room for love if we let it, if we choose that. So it's true that hurt people, but it's also true, Whitmore Lake, if we choose this, that healed people heal people. Everybody give it up for my cup. Thank you. So look, here's what I mean by that. When I say healed people heal people, everybody say that. Healed people heal people. What I mean by that is that I'm choosing to forgive somebody who showed me only hate. And that's not easy to do. But once I become healed in my heart, now I can go help heal somebody else. And Martin Luther King Jr., he said that darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And he said that hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. I have a friend named Irene Kapko. Everybody say Irene Kapko. That's Irene Kapko. She's 103 years old. 103. That's a little bit older than you. But listen, Irene Kapko, I was at her birthday party, eating some chocolate, frosting, gooey, sprinkled fudge cake. It was so good. And I said, Irene, you're 103. Tell me about your life. Tell me the good times, the bad times, the sad times, the mad times, the glad times, the times that rhyme with ad. And she said, Mr. Peace, her most painful memory was back in 4th grade. It was back in 4th grade over 90 years ago. She remembered it like it happened yesterday. It was still on her heart. And she was at the front of the class giving a presentation, and this boy came up from behind her, and he put her down because of her height, because she was short, and because of her weight, because she was heavier than her classmates. And it just crushed her. It humiliated her in front of everybody. And it wasn't until she was 40 years old that she finally forgave that boy in her heart. And then she became a youth worker to help other students who felt like she felt. She became healed to heal other people. And where are my 2nd graders at? Hands down. I was speaking at a school in Indiana. There was 1,000 students in the gym for this elementary school. And during my talk, this 2nd grade teacher, she came up and she interrupted my assembly in front of everybody. She said, hey, Mr. Peace, everybody, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I just got to share something on my heart. I said, yeah, go ahead, here's the mic. And she said her name was Kate, and that her most painful memory was 40 years ago, back in 2nd grade. And she was the new girl at school. And right before lunch one day, this group of popular girls came up to Kate and they said, hey, Kate, you can sit with us today at lunch. Go get your lunch and then come sit by us. And she's like, are you guys serious? Is this a joke or something? They said, no. Go get your lunch and then come sit by us. So she gets her lunch tray out of the lunch line and she walks over to their table and sits down. And as soon as she sits down, all the girls stand up on their chairs. And they shout across the cafeteria so everybody can hear them. They say, hey, everybody, look at Kate. She came in a fortnight's clothes. And she runs out crying. And you see, her parents didn't have a lot of money growing up, so sometimes she had to wear the same outfit 3 times a week to school. And she was teased and bullied because of that. But she forgave those girls in her heart, and then chose to become a 2nd grade teacher. So that her most painful memory that happened back in 2nd grade would never happen again to any of her students on her watch at her new school. She became healed to heal other people. Where are my 3rd graders at? Hands down. I was checking out of a school in California on the coast by the Pacific Ocean over there, and I was signing out, ready to leave in the main office, and this 3rd grader named Dominic came up to me after my talk. And he said, Mr. Peace, do you want to know when my most painful memory was? I said, yeah, tell me. He said, it was 2 years ago back in 1st grade. Had my heart crushed by this girl. Had my heart broken. So I said, well, what happened? And he said he was on the bus, and this 5th grader for 2 months straight, 2 months in a row, she turned to Dominic and said, you're never going to have any friends. You're never going to have any friends. So think about a 5th grader to a 1st grader, the impression, right? You're never going to have any friends. Just because he was born in the Middle East, in a whole different country, she was teasing him. He said, Mr. Peace, the first night it happened, I went home and cried myself to sleep. I didn't want to come back to school again. It hurt so bad. He said, Mr. Peace, it hurt so much that it felt like my heart broke into a billion pieces. But then he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, but you know what, Mr. Peace? I said, what? He said, now I have best friends. Now I have best friends. How many of you guys have best friend? Hands down. How many of you guys have a best friend because they play with you? Hands down, hands down. How many of you guys have a best friend because you have something in common? Hands down. How many have a best friend because they make you laugh? Hands down. How many have a best friend because they got your back? Hands down. Can I see that $20 bill real quick? And I'll give it back for gas. All right, thank you so much. But listen, not even 20 minutes ago, most of all of you were like, me, Mr. Peace, Mr. Peace. But none of you would tell me that your best friend is your best friend because of how much money they have or don't have, what kind of car their parents drive, what kind of house they live in, the toys they have. How come nobody would say those things as to why that person's my best friend? How come? Would hurt their feelings? What else? How come nobody would say those things? Why? So it's all about who we are on the inside, right? Not the outside. One more. So it's not about the things, right? It's about seeing somebody for their heart first, hands down. So Dominic started crying. He said, Mr. Peace, that's my best friend David standing in the office. And he said, when I was getting bullied and teased and put down and ridiculed and embarrassed, he stood up for me when I didn't have the courage to myself. That's a best friend. And think about this. If we treated everybody like we treated our best friend, do you think we still have bullying happen? No, because you see people for their heart first. I was talking in Chicago, and this 5th grader named Cheyenne, she came up to me after my assembly, and she said that there's a girl named Jenny, and she moved to their school this past fall, but Jenny is in a wheelchair for life. She's in a wheelchair permanently. And Jenny's paralyzed from her waist down. Her 2 legs don't work. And the first day Jenny got to school, Cheyenne's friends pulled her aside and said, don't even talk to that girl. She's different. She's weird. But Cheyenne said, no, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm listening to my heart. So she went up to her and said, hey, do you want to be my friend? And Jenny said, yes. And ever since that day, lunch, recess, library, gym, she includes Jenny. And then this 5th grader, her wisdom, she said, Mr. Peace, when I see her, I see this before this. I see her heart before this wheelchair, before this piece of equipment. And that's the actual wheelchair right there. And there's a speaker named Nick Vujicic. Everybody say Vujicic. Say Vujicic. Yeah, wasn't that fun? Nick Vujicic is from Australia. He has no arms, no legs. He was born without arms or legs. He's married now, has 2 kids, and he speaks all over the world. He was talking to an elementary school in a gym about twice the size of this room. And on one side of the gym, there were some bleachers. And there was a mom and her 3-year-old daughter at the assembly watching. And as people started to leave and exit, this 3-year-old, who was like this the whole assembly for like 45 minutes trying to stay still, because we all know what 3-year-olds do, whatever they want, right? And so she was like ready to just burst out all of her energy. So as people started to leave and the assembly was over, the mom said, fine, go, just get your energy out. So she bolts, and she's skipping and hopping and twirling and cartwheels and floating and running full steam all around the gym. And she's the same height as Nick. And pretty soon she's running full steam right at Nick and doesn't even see him. And he's off his wheelchair. Usually he's on it, but he's saying bye to people. And he sees her coming, and he's like, oh no. Because he can't move, he doesn't have arms and legs, right? So he's just gonna brace for impact. But at the last second, in the corner of her eye, she sees him, and she slams on the brakes, and they're face to face. She takes a step back, and she looks him up and down. She says, what's going on here? She's never seen anybody without arms and legs, right? But her next move, this 3-year-old, without really thinking, she put both of her arms behind her back like this, and she hugged him with her neck like this. And it was so beautiful because she didn't care how tall he was, the branding of his clothes, whether he had arms or legs. She only cared about this. And that's the only way he can hug, right? He doesn't have arms. It has to be with his neck. Hands down. We'll talk to you in a second. Hands down. So listen. Other people who see us for the heart first. Puppies. These are my wife and I's 3 puppies. From left to right, we have Mrs. Murillo. In the middle, we have Kiki Melaniki. And on the right, we have Bare Bones Jones III. This is them posing. Christmas, Easter. This is Bear's best friend, Dakota. They have play dates. Dakota has to wear a diaper. And he's also in a wheelchair. And why I'm showing you guys this is because when Dakota, how many of you guys have a dog? Show of hands. Okay, hands down. But when Dakota was a baby puppy, his older brother, who was a different dog breed, a bigger dog, he was too rough with him. And he played with him too hard and actually hurt him. And he paralyzed Dakota, his two back legs, just like Jenny. So Dakota has to use this wheelchair to help him get around better, right? Here's my question. Do you think that Bear cares at all that his best friend is disabled? No, Bear doesn't care at all. And any of you guys that have dogs know this, that as soon as we say Dakota's coming over, Bear will run to the door like this and stay there for 2 hours. And even any of you guys that have a dog, and as soon as you get home, probably some of your dogs are waiting just like this. And as soon as you get to the door, they're going to jump on you, kiss you, lick you to death, right? And just show you unconditional love. Everybody say that. Unconditional love. And what I mean by that is that we show love to everybody around us, no matter their condition, whether they're taller, shorter, wider, thinner, wear glasses, don't, are disabled or not, different skin color, doesn't matter. We still show love to everybody. And that takes courage. Are there any 8-year-olds here? 8-year-olds, hands down. This is Jackson Bezant. If you guys have seen the movie Wonder, this is a real-life wonder. This guy's name is Jackson Bezant. He's from Idaho. And he's 8 years old. And he was born with Treacher-Collins syndrome, which means that the bones and the tissue in your face, they don't fully form. So his face is kind of disfigured. Well, guess what? Some of his classmates were making fun of him. Some of them were calling him a freak and other really bad names. So his dad went onto social media and he put a request out. He said, can anybody give my son some encouragement? And people your age, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds from all across this country, they sent him videos of encouragement. People thousands of miles away encouraged him. And then the very next day, he came to school, and one of his classmates was still being mean to him. One of his classmates still called him ugly. And so 5 boys at their school stepped forward. And they said, no, that's not how you treat people at our school. That's not going to work for us. And ever since they stood up for Jackson and had the courage to do that, everybody at the school accepts Jackson. And that took a lot of guts and courage because, guys, you could get bullied yourself or teased yourself if you stick up for somebody. But that's beautiful. And so look, you can also not just have an impact on people here within these walls at Whitmore Lake, you guys can have an impact on other students' hearts all across this world. That's the power that all of you guys have. And that means to see people for their heart first, but also for this too. Every one of you on your palms, on the palm of your hands, has the letter M etched on your palm. I traced mine right here. But every one of you, sometimes on both hands or one of your hands, with the lines on your hand, on your palm, you have the letter M. And if you can't find it right now, your teachers are going to spend the rest of this week helping you guys. But anyways, so this M stands for miracle. Everybody say miracle. Yeah. Upside down W stands for worthy. Everybody say worthy. But here's the problem. So many students that I speak to, they don't see this in themselves. This is Dylan. He was in 3rd grade in this picture. And he came up to me after my talk, he was crying. He said, Mr. Peace, I'm getting bullied because of my size, because I'm small for my age. And he pulled this out of his pocket, and it breaks my heart. But he said, Mr. Peace, you forgot that M also stands for mistake. And he was told this from somebody who he cares about, and he believed this even though it was a lie. And he wrote this on a piece of paper and said, Mr. Peace, I look at this once a day to remind myself who I am. It says, I'm a mistake. But I said, you're not. And he said, I don't want to believe this anymore. I want to believe this, that I'm a miracle. And so his classmates sent me this that week. They all traced their hands, and Dylan's is in there too with the miracle. And they said, we're going to support him. We're going to help him see his worth and his value. And after the first assembly today, one of your classes here at Whitmore Lake, they all took a picture with their hands. and they're doing the same for one of their classmates that was feeling down. And they gave me this picture. They all traced the M to show that they're all miracles. So all of you guys have that power. I know I'm close to running out of time. I don't know if I can get 5 more minutes. Okay, thank you. So look, Whitmore Lake, it's so important for us to help other people see that they're miracles. Everybody say, I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle. I just got done speaking in Illinois, near Chicago too, and I had a 5th grader named Kaiden come up to me after my talk. And this school where I was at, they have a lot of visually impaired students, which means they can't see. They can't see very well. And this girl, her name was Kaiden, she was legally blind. So she had a walking stick to help her walk. And she came up to me after my assembly, and she said, Mr. Peace, can you trace the M on my hand? Because she can't even see her hands. And so I traced her M, so she felt the lines on her hand. And she said, Mr. Peace, that's the first time that I've ever felt like a miracle. Guys, all of you can have that same power to encourage somebody and uplift their hearts if you choose that, right? And that means we have to show kindness. Teachers will know what's going on in this picture, but I've had the privilege of visiting different communities to try to bring some healing after tragedies have happened. This one was in 2012 at Sandy Hook School in Connecticut, Newtown, and I spoke to quite a few schools, including that one, at the community. But they had a really bad tragedy in 2012. But they don't want to focus on the tragedy, they want to focus on kindness. So their 2nd grade class, they gave me this, and they all signed it. And it says, one kind word can change someone's entire day. One kind word can change someone's entire day. Do you guys believe that? Yeah, it can, right? And that's if we choose kindness and choose love. The one word that's in focus in the middle in red, it says love, right? And so bullying might still be here, even after I leave. I'm not guaranteeing, guys, that bullying will stop at Whitmore Lake. But what I guarantee will happen is the response. I had a 3rd grader named John. He sent me an email, and he got tripped 2 weeks after I spoke in the hallway by a bully. He got tripped and fell down. And he stood right back up, and he walked over to the bully. He shook his hand, he smiled, and said, have a great day. And the bully's mouth, while he's shaking his hand, it dropped. And everybody watching in their hallways, their mouths dropped because they expected John to cry or try to fight back and fail or to run away. But he did the opposite. He showed this person love that was hurting in their hearts. And now they're best friends. And I had a 4th grader named Uriah when I came back for lunch with some students at a school nearby here. And Uriah said, Mr. Peace, there's a bully in our school, but I think if we keep showing him love and kindness, it's going to change his heart. He started to understand that we have that power. And look, where are my kindergartners at? Kindergartners? Hands down. I got this from a kindergartner. She was 5 at the time. She's 6 years old now. This is from Lillian. And she wrote me this book, and sometimes students write me letters. It says, thank you, Mr. Peace. Aim for the good days, not the bad days. Love, Lillian. And she left the inside blank of this book. I said, why'd you leave it blank? She said, I did that on purpose. Because we choose good or bad, what we're going to make our life, how we're going to treat people. We choose to love or hate. This is a 5-year-old making a choice to show love and kindness. If a 5-year-old can do this, all of us can do this, right? And look, we have to do this, guys. This is Anaya and Mackenzie. And they were 5th graders, and they started a Mr. Peace Club. And you have a builders club here, you have student council, and you could do like a kindness club. But I said, what is this about? And right after I spoke, they said, Mr. Peace, your club, you write your name down, the date you joined, and people that you think need a friend. And then you go be their friend at lunch and recess. They have 50 members now, a part of their club at their school. And they keep including people and change the whole culture of their school to be all about kindness. You guys can do the same thing. And we have to. I had a 4th grader, her name was Julia, and she came up to me after my talk and she was crying and she fell into my arms. And she said, Mr. Peace, I'm just getting bullied because I'm the new girl and because of where I was born. I'm from Korea. And she said the first day she got to school, she tried sitting down at lunch to meet some new friends. And as soon as she sat down at the table, everybody at the table stood up and walked to a different table. And they embarrassed her in front of everybody. So she tried the second table and sat down, and everybody stood up, and they walked to a different table. It humiliated her. So she tried the third table and sat down next to this boy, and he looked at her, and he said, "You can sit here. You can stay." And now they're best friends. But what's even so cool about this, Julia makes it her job now, because she knows how it felt to be alone. Every day at lunch, she's looking for other people that need a friend. And she'll go sit by and include them. And at recess, they have a buddy bench. So if you're lonely or need somebody to play with you, they sit on this bench. And then a student ambassador, a safety, or just someone that's a leader comes by and they ask you to play and include you. So nobody's ever feeling alone. Guys, if something I shared today touched your heart, can you raise your hand? If a story I shared touched your heart, hands down. That means you guys were given a gift, and now it's your choice to go share that. It only took me about 45 minutes. And see all these bracelets that I wear? I pick about 10 or 12 of these. And I got some more today from some students. I have bags and bags. This is one of my bags. I have thousands of these. But they're all from students your age, some younger, some older, who said, "Mr. Peace, thanks for coming today. Thanks for touching my heart." And these become my armor and my strength because I wear these to remember their stories. And sometimes they're tears. But tears are strength, right? And the start of healing. You guys touched my heart today. I'm going to be giving your teachers one of my cards with all my information. If you guys want to reach out, if we don't have time to talk today and something's on your heart, you guys can send me a message on social media, YouTube, on my website, mrpeace.org. You guys can also continue the message with these t-shirts. I got them in different colors, the One Race Human, and these other shirts that say, "Keep your head up," upside down on purpose. So if you look down or are feeling down, it reads, "Keep your head up." And I got CDs, DVDs, you guys can continue the message that way. But guys, more importantly, I want you to continue the message by how you choose to live, how you choose to treat other people. And you guys might want to do this too. A school in California started this. This is a kindness pledge. And what it is, every student in your school traces their hand. And they put the M on there for miracle. And they write one kind action that they're going to do every day to make people feel safe, loved, celebrated. And then you go and do that. And you put it into a giant peace sign like this. So you see it every day to remind you what we talked about today. So everybody say, healed people, heal people.
Healed people, heal people.
Say, look at the heart first. Say, be a best friend.
Be a best friend.
Say, have courage.
Have courage.
Say, I'm a miracle.
I'm a miracle.
And say, make the right choice.
Make the right choice.
Guys, you guys touch my heart. I'm going to close with some hip hop because that's what I do. This song's about bullying, and I get all my hip hop skills from your principal, okay? So here we go. 2 fingers up for peace. I hope you're back again one day soon to talk to you guys again. I appreciate your time. Gotta get in my zone. All right, here we go. Let's rock it. Hashtag Kind Trojans. Here we go. Mic check. All right. 2 fingers up for peace and just rock from west to east. Listen. It's up to us all to put a stop to the bull in the classroom halls and within these walls. I want to go to school, go mad at the grade. I feel safe, I feel loved and celebrated. So I gotta put myself in the other person's shoes, cause what I say might hurt and stay stuck like glue on the other person's heart, and it's just not right. I gotta stand up Whitmore Lake for what I know is right. If I see someone get bullied, I think of this rap and do what I can, all that I can to take action. Now is the time, and it's okay to tell an adult or a teacher and get some help. Yo, it's up to us all to put a stop to the bull in the classroom halls and within these walls. I want to go to school, no matter the grade. I feel safe, I feel loved and celebrated. So starting right now, I'm going to make a pledge to treat everyone like I treat my best friend. Now is the time, and today is the day. Put a stop to the bullying. No more pain. No more pain. No more haterade. Just the Gatorade, or the Powerade, or the Minute Maid. Now you got it made. Thanks for touching my heart, guys. Peace.